Greetings all and welcome back to Porthos Plays. This is episode 6 and today we will be taking on the challenge of the Great Drain Pumps, fighting our way across there to access the pumps and repair them so that we can gain access to the Great Belegost Forge. And I do mean fighting, as there will be a challenging enemy to overcome in order to get across the water. In preparation for that, I have been busy exploring the lower deeps. As you can see, I have basically covered off the entire area. Oh, actually, it's the wrong layer. Let's just... Yeah, we've basically covered off the entire area. There's an orc town just here, and there's one other opening over here, which will actually show you that tile in a little bit. But everything else has been covered off, and there are no more rooms to explore. And we have found the Rangers camp and the Misnaken chest as well. And in doing so, I have unlocked all the gear that we need. So you can see here the first stage sword has been crafted, and Orcbane has been applied. And similarly, we have the Great Sword as well, with the Orcbane 2. And up here, the first stage crossbow, which will be really useful for us in taking on the challenge in the drain pumps. So before we head down to take on that challenge, there's a few rations to wait for. And while I wait for those, let's see what we've been up to in between episodes to get ready. So I've come back to the deepest dark crevice that we found during the last episode. And I've crafted up the history stone there, which is the second of 3 that we need for one of the goals for the campaign. And the reason that we're here is because we need rubies for the first age sword. And I really would like to upgrade to the first age sword because the tier 2 armor and weapons that we have down here are just really not cutting it against the moths and the tougher orcs. So we're going to go down into the crevice, down into the darkest deeps and look for some rubies. Now I've crafted up a rope ladder here, and I've also brought with me some black diamonds, some coal and some stone, as well as the wood and natural fiber for the rope ladders and platforms, so that when we get to the bottom we can craft a hearth and a map stone, and then we will be able to save a lot of time climbing up and down, because as you'll see as we climb down here, even whilst you're still on the ladders, you start to lose your morale and get into despair and potentially take some damage. So having a map stone at the bottom really helps with the amount of time that you can spend down here gathering materials before you start to take that damage. So to get to the bottom of the ladder, it's a little bit of a tricky one to craft the next platform and land on it successfully. So we're going to just rotate that round like, no, don't really want that like that. That's probably okay. If we could put that sort of there, we can jump off onto that. There we go. And I'll put a little quick platform alongside it as well, if I can, just to make it safe climbing down the ladder, although we shouldn't really ever need to climb down these ladders again after we've done this. So I'm going to get down to the bottom, but as you can see, I'm already in darkness. Morale is already suffering, and I'm going to get down to the bottom, and then we'll craft up the hearth. So here we are down in the bottom. It is a dark mine shaft. We've got ourselves a camp hearth. We've got ourselves a map stone. And we are ready to explore. What we're also going to do as we go through here is we're going to plant down some standing torches to help us find our way back. So every time we reach a junction, we're going to put a standing torch in the passageway that leads back towards the exit. And obviously I do need metal fragments for those. So I'm going to make use of this map stone straight away to head back up to our base and gather that in. And then we can come straight back down with fresh morale. Okay, so I've dropped off everything we don't need. I've got rid of the Misnaken carvings and the Ranger journals because we're definitely not going to find Misnaken chests and Ranger camps down in the dark mine shaft. So I've got just some arrows for defense, some metal fragments and some wood scraps for the standing torches. However, before we do that, it sounds like we are under attack. You called the alarm mine. Are you going to... No? You're not going to... Oh, great. You're taking cover in the doorway. Alright, I think we'll leave these guys to it and head down to the dark mine shaft. They should manage on their own, alright. So here we are in the mine shaft. And you'll notice the mini-map is completely obscured, shrouded, so there is no way for us to navigate down here at all. So, for example, here we are at our first junction. There are some spiders there, but before we take any interest in those, one standing torch goes there, and now when we come back to this junction, we'll know that that pathway is the one that leads to home, not the one with the spiders or the whatever that terrifying thing is. We're definitely not equipped to deal with that. Let's go the other way. Well, in fact, having gone the other way, I haven't even made it really much past the mapstone before I have found our first precious gem vein. So we're going to climb up onto here if I can, and come on, there we go. And we're going to mine this out, and hopefully rubies will be our reward. Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, it is more sapphires, so we're going to have to keep exploring to find ourselves some rubies. And we need to keep an eye on our round meter down there in the bottom left corner of the screen, because when that starts to get low, we need to run back to the mapstone, bounce up to our camp, and then come back down afresh. But let's keep going and see if we can find some rubies. Oh, this is a dead end. Okay, so what have we got on this side? More precious gems. Okay, fingers crossed for rubies. Rubies! Yes, excellent. So, now we have rubies. We'll mine the rest of this vein out. We'll be able to get ourselves a more powerful sword, and that will stand us in good stead as we explore down at the rest of the lower deeps. We'll obviously come back here again to get more gems and other things that we need. Emeralds, potentially diamonds. There will be other gems down here that will be helpful to us in the long run. But right now, a few rubies was all we needed. So, we'll finish this precious gem vein, which is giving us rubies. And we'll head back up and craft up that sword. So, we are back at camp. And our guard... Oh, there we go. There we go. Right. No? Yeah, go on. You're not very good at doing your job, are you, Einar? You've left the salvager to contend with the orcs. And you're just kind of standing there. You're only interested in them if they're... Actually, oh, and he's dead now. Sigbert has died. God, Einar, you're terrible. I have to fire you, or maybe swap you around and see if Sigbert does a better job. Well, we're going to have to see if we can rescue old Sigbert here. So it's interesting, is that marked on the map at all? No, so it hasn't got me a map marker for him being dead, so if he died and I wasn't here, maybe that's not possible, maybe he can only die when I'm present. But I can revive him, okay, good. Up you get, Sigbert.
Got it.
And straight back to work. Yeah, dwarves are hardy. Okay, anyway, we're back here to craft up the sword, so let's get on that. You are useless. Right, anyway. In we go. Just close the door. Excellent. So, what do we need for this first stage sword? Let's take a look at the forge. First stage sword. Oh, we need one more ubasam wood. I need to make up some leather, and I need to get some silver in the forge. So we'll put the silver in the forge and craft the leather, and then I'll head out to grab a little bit more ubasam wood. Just pop in here. Silver ingots. We've got plenty of that. So 1, 2, 3. Might as well do a fourth and fifth while the fuel is in use. Head over to the loom here. Leather. Takes hide and salt. We've got that. 1 leather. Oh! And the recipe for the brew skin has been found. Well, that could actually be quite useful, particularly down in the darkest deeps. Brew skin requires 3 leather and steel and ubasam wood. So let's. Oh no, that's not the loom. Let's make 3 more leather, and then we'll head down and get some ubasam wood. And when we get back up, the silver ingots should be ready. Alright guys, so here we are back at camp. I picked up a few ubasam wood, not that many. I got 16. I got exhausted very quickly, so that was enough for what we needed right now. Just going to grab these silver ingots, and let's get this new sword crafted. Here we go, first stage sword, tier 3. All the ingredients we need, and craft that up. So this is a tier 3 replacement for our current steel sword. We are obviously going to put the Orcbane rune enchantment on there, like we had on the previous one, which is this one. There we go. We've got loads of sapphires, so we'll put that on there. And it just makes us a little bit tougher as we explore down in the lower deeps with these tougher new enemy classes, particularly the moths. I'm also going to craft the brew skin, because it could be quite useful to have some brews with us as we go around. As you can see, they have various advantages. The evening ale that we currently have in there gives you energy refills when you drink it. We also have one here that helps you see in the dark, and the sour pilsner that is a poison cure. So there's a few options there. We only have one brew kettle at the moment, so we haven't got the scope to make lots of different types at once with the space we have available. But in the fullness of time, we'll probably have a few different brew kettles and therefore a few different brew skins with different things in them. So it's now time to have a rest, even though it's only lunchtime, because I'm exhausted. Or actually, instead of doing that, let's fill the brew skin and have a mug of ale, and let's see what happens when we drink the ale.
Keep that tune going.
So as you can see, we get building up the evening ale on the left, and when we finish the mug with this final quaff, it clears away our exhaustion. It only brings us back to tired, unfortunately, so might have to have a second one of those to see if that brings us back all the way to normal. There we go, it's cleared the tiredness. So our stamina now, let's see if I charge an attack. Yeah, you can see that's put the energy right back up to near the top. So that's us equipped to continue running around the lower deeps for the rest of the afternoon. That's great. So as you saw there, the new first stage Orcbane sword serving us rather well in that conflict, and the sour pilsner would actually have been really quite useful there because we did get some poison. These orcs do have poison weapons down here in the lower deeps, so I'm just going to have a bit of food actually to heal up a bit after that. But we've taken out another orcish banner, unlocked an orc chest. And there are 3 rubies in here. Of course there are. So we went all the way down to the darkest deeps to get those rubies, and there are some in this chest. However, arguably, if we hadn't done that, we didn't have the new sword, we might have struggled much more to clear out this tile and get the chest in the first place. But we're going to continue exploring and see what more recipes for better gear we can find. So guys, whilst exploring in a similar room to the one in the mines, I have found the next ranger's camp, and we do have enough pages, so I'm going to rebuild the journal here and see what we get. So, orcish medicine brew recipe and a journal entry on the same, and quite a lot of herbs and things in here, which unfortunately I do have the space to collect. Excellent. And we can then just organise up the inventory there, and we've got a little bit extra orcish medicine recipe. Oh, and there's a carving here to take on for when we find the Muznachen chest. That sounds like a troll. We have taken on a troll, but it was in the mines.
Troll! Did he see us?
Can you get through there, big guy? No, you can't. Okay. Let's see. A troll is best attacked with a battle axe, I think. A nice large weapon where I can charge up for a big attack. Whoa! He's not good. Oh no. This dude hits pretty hard. Have we got enough arrows to take you out? Probably not. Let's see what we can do. Okay, took out the troll. And I'm pretty sure I saw a Durin's axe fragment as I was fighting him. Here it is. So another fragment of the axe has been found without having to open an Akvur chest this time. And this says, the Lodeek's fragment is found. It seems to be part of the forged eye at the top of the shaft. So, there we go. That's 3 out of 5, I think. So we're getting along quite well with that. I'm going to continue exploring. There's some excellent loot here from the Troll's Hoard. However, can't really get in there very easily to collect it because of the darkness. But I can get to 2 out of 4. And we'll have to come back for that another time. But yeah, 1 troll down. Ooh, some spiders over there. 1 troll down and an axe fragment found. Okay, so we have come into this tile here. We've taken out a large number of great spiders. And it would appear that this is a special location. The Pilgrim Library. Let me just get rid of this. Oh, more spiders. Oh dear. So yeah, the Pilgrim Library, which I'm guessing is through that rubble there. So I'm just going to clear out the rest of this tile. I'm going to read that mapstone, and then we'll break through into there and see what's inside. Okay, so here we are. Spiders are coming up on the right-hand side, but this is an interesting little find. I'm going to have a little explore in here once I can clear these guys out.
Till Durin wakes from sleep.
Ooh, we have received a recipe for the Shanor hammer. Ah, okay. So that's the next hammer level up above the one we currently have, I think. And that's a great thing to have found. So once we do find the Great Belegost Forge, which we haven't found yet, we will be able to craft that hammer, which is really useful. And so, yeah, I'm going to keep exploring around and see what more we can find. And here we are with the Muzanakin of Garin's line. So we have enough carving, so let's unlock this chest. And the Belegost helmet and shield have been unlocked from that. So that was a necessary thing to find to complete the set of armor for the Belegost. So here we have, in the armor section, the helmet, gauntlets, and ringmail are unlocked. The boots, we still need to find 1 more statue. And under the weapons section as well, the Belegost shield has now been unlocked, which is a tier 3 shield. We've also unlocked the ornamental shield, which is tier 3. However, this requires some very fancy materials that we don't yet have access to. And then the... oh, I think this is on the workbench. We've also unlocked the first age crossbow and bolts, which are useful tools for the upcoming battle against the Watcher in the water. So that's really good to unlock that through the Mizanakin chest there. We're going to keep going around. I've still got 56 stone on me, which is enough to craft up a few more statues. And there's one just here, actually, which will hopefully get us the recipe for the boots. Oh no, that's not gone the boots. That's given us the first stage greatsword, but still a useful thing. We're nearly ready to sort ourselves out for some gear, although we do need to find the forge before we can do that. And actually thinking about it, we won't be able to craft some of this gear until after we take on the Watcher anyway, because we need to clear the grain pumps before we can use that forge.
The way forward is flooded, but they would have had drain pumps. It must be nearby.
Okay, so this is the very last tile other than the Orc Town to explore. And as you can see, it is the Great Belegost Forge, but it's flooded. So we can't access the forge or craft the armor and shield up until we have cleared this out. And in order to clear this out, we need to repair the drain pumps. But we now have all the weapons we need to take on that challenge. So it's time to head back to camp, get prepped, and take it on. And there we go. The honey cakes are ready. So let's pick those up, and we'll just come over here and organize our inventory. We want to get that crossbow on the hotbar. Probably want the bow on the hotbar as well next to it. And we definitely want the greatsword over the battle axe. So drop the battle axe off and just have some useful resources there that we need to build stuff across the water and take on the Watcher. let's head down there. Okay, so I have bridged my way out onto the middle of the lake here with this little island in front of us using some platforms and piers, as you can see behind me there, little bridge. And I'm going to jump down onto the platform and we'll see what happens when we get down there, because I think at some point here we're going to see... No? Okay, maybe I have to go out onto the next section of water. Let's pop this pier down here and just proceed gingerly and slowly. No? Okay. One at a time. Whoa, there it is.
Ah! What is that? Monster! In the water! Is that another watcher?
So to take out the Watcher, it is a bit of a longer fight, but what you have to do is you have to hit the eyes just like that with a ranged weapon, because the first stage crossbow being obviously the best one you have available at this point in time. And then there is a little bit of waiting at times between waiting for the Watcher to pop back up from under the water, as you can see, and just kind of running backwards and forwards here, waiting for it to reappear. There we go. And boom, another shot. And it also does occasionally spawn a set of enemies to use to fight. So you can see here there are some orcs spawning. Unfortunately, you can't actually see very well because this is a very dark tile and I can't have the shield and the torch out at the same time. So in between pop-ups, sometimes you have to fight some orcs, and then you just sort of grab a moment to pop a shot off as you're being attacked there if you can. And you kind of rinse and repeat this until you finally take out all of the eyes and the Watcher will be defeated. It is also possible to cheese a fight as well, because if you climb back up onto the bridge that goes back towards the stairs in between when the orcs are about to spawn, then the orcs won't follow you, or they will despawn, and then you can still pop off your shots at the Watcher from the platform and run back up the bridge to get away from the orcs. However, I decided to do this a bit more legitimately and stay on the platform and fight the orcs, and I did get quite lucky that there was only one horde of orcs that came up, because as you can see it did take away all my armor and get me down quite low on health when I was fighting them. And then took a few tries to get the eye, the last eye, and eventually we did manage it. And there we go. The Watcher is defeated. Excellent. So we can now make our way across the water towards the drain pumps and progress to preparing them. So we're going to get a pier out here to start us off, because you have to place a pier first, otherwise you can't put the bridges on this side of it, and the Watcher has destroyed the one we built earlier. So we'll pop down some platforms and we'll make our way across to the pumps. And there we go, the goal is complete. Get to the drain pumps. We've got ourselves a little chest here, some gold, some arrows. Grab that stuff there. I'm just going to light up these braziers. Make sure it's all nice and bright over here. Come on. Yep, there we go. And there's no more. Yeah, okay. And in we head. So in here, you'll see that there are some parts missing there. A couple of pipes there, cogwheel over there that we'll need to build up and install to repair the pumps. Looks like this room is clear, which is good. And let's have a little look out the back. There's the cogwheel. Great. We'll pick that up and put that in the thing in just a sec. Let's get these things on. There we go. Grab the cogwheel. Pop that in. I think there are some spiders out there. Are they going to notice me? Yeah, they are. Okay, we'll have to deal with those guys in a minute. But basically what we have to do is we have to go around here, see if there's any more of these parts that need replacing, or if we can find any more already in place. And then once we repair them up, we can start the pumps and we can head back to the Belegost Forge and it will be in a usable condition. So I headed back up to camp, brought down some resources, and as you can see I've built a hearth and a forge. So we're going to look at the forge here and build the replacement pipes that we need. So we need 4 of these to repair the forge. I found a couple more outside around the back after I took out the spiders. So if we craft these up and start placing them in position, and we can get this forge repaired. So pick them up like this, and as before, you can't really move very fast or jump with them, but you just pop them into the position, and once you've placed all 4, it will be back up and running. So I'm going to do that now and check back in when it's finished. And the repair is done. I do have 1 piece of pipe left over, as you can see. That's because there was a piece in that room over there that I missed before when I explored. But now all we have to do is pull this handle here. And there we go. Goal is complete. And we have a new goal to return to the Pilgrim Road. So let's have a look. Journey back to the block gate now that the water is gone. Cool. So it's telling me to head back to the Belegost Forge, which is up here in this tile as we've seen before. And once we get there, we'll be able to drain it out and go inside and craft up our armor, and obviously as well progress through that tile onto the only remaining gap other than the Orc Town. So let's head over there. So we've made our way back to the very end of the map here, to the tile with the Belegost Forge in it. And all we have to do is pull the lever on the left here, and that should drain out the water.
Good. The flood is receding.
It's taking its sweet time, but eventually, there we go, the door, or the gate rather, will open. So we can head down into the forge, which I imagine is going to need repairing like the last one, and then we'll be able to gear up a bit more. So I've repaired the forge much as we had to with the previous forge. You can see the little bridge I've had to build over there to get the pipe in place, and the crank was on the other side. There's also another tile there through that door as we expected, and so the forge is going to light up, and then of course we'll probably have a horde like we did with the previous forge. There we go, it is lit. And oh, we've unlocked a Shanor ingot and a halberd, and a horde is coming. So we'll check out these orcs, and then we'll check out the new recipes.
Stop this one dead. We got orcs.
Okay, well, a fairly easy horde there, only about 15 orcs, I think. And we seem to have picked up a Shanor ingot from one of them, which is unlocked on the right there, the Shanor ingot pallet, and the ironwood pickaxe, which is the next pickaxe level, which is very exciting. And in the furnace here, we have the Shanor ingot, copper, tin, and silver we need for that. Obviously, we haven't got any of that on us right now. And then on the forge, let's have a look here. We got all the Belegost armor pieces now unlocked to require Shanor ingot, Numenorian cloth, and leather. And we do have the ability to craft up all of those now. And the Shanor hammer is there. The pickaxe isn't there, which is interesting. Let's have a look in the recipe book. The forge under the... yeah, there we go. So the ironwood pickaxe requires ironwood, which we haven't yet been able to gather. That's a future capability, so we can't quite make that tier 4 pickaxe just yet. I think you have to enchant a tool with a gem in order to get ironwood. So we'll head back to base, we'll gather up some resources, and we'll head back here to craft up some new gear. Okay, here we are back at the forge, and I have brought with me various items. I've picked up some parsnips and mushrooms along the way, it looks like. But I've brought with me various items, the ingredients for crafting up the bits of kit that we want to forge. So there's a few more than I said before, because I figured out that there are a few extra bits and pieces like the shield and the halberd. But we should have enough gear, enough materials rather, to craft all of this gear. So let's get going. Okay, so there we go. All of the pieces of kit that I had planned to craft are done. Just to organise the inventory there. However, I did realise that just as I was looking in the forge menu that there is also the Shanor hammer available, which requires a Shanor ingot and a black diamond. Wondering whether this might be craftable back at our base. No, it's not. So I do have to craft it here at the Great Forge, which is really frustrating because I don't have the materials, and that means making another trip back here at some point. But we do need to come through here to progress on to the next area, and we don't need the Shanor hammer until we do that. So what I'll probably do is bring the materials to craft it on my way through when I come back next time. But now let's equip the new armor. So there we are. We're fully kitted out in our new armor. We're going to put a Belegost shield in as well. I have to say goodbye to the Rohirrim shield. And we have a Belegost halberd as well, a new tier 3 weapon to go with our other tier 3 weapons that we already have on the hotbar. We've also acquired this extra slot here, the 0 slot for the Zarok torch, because I have equipped a masterwork. So the masterwork torch, which I can now equip using the 0 key, is there, and you'll notice that it's equipped hanging on the side of the pack. Now what I'm curious about is whether this provides light to me even when I'm not holding it, just because of its position on the pack. And it looks like it does, because this area is quite dark down here. Let's see as we walk down. It does. So it lights it up even when I'm not holding it, which is great because it means that I can fight with a two-handed weapon and there is still light, and I could use a two-handed pickaxe as well. So I could go for the Quarry Master, except for the fact, of course, that they are both masterworks, so you can only carry one at a time. But here, with these guys, I can use this two-handed weapon, and there is no problem there with being able to see what I'm swinging at, which is great. So I'm really pleased that we've put that together. We have actually had that for a while. I just haven't really taken the time to craft it up, but I'm pleased with that. So we have ourselves some new armor, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give our old Erebor armor set to our guard Einar. I've already given him the steel sword, and I'm going to give him the armor, and the next thing to do will be to take on Orktown. So here we are back at camp, and I have given Einar the Erebor armor set, which I have also put in ink grinder, just tucked it in the corner here to dye so that he is in keeping with the channel colours. There he is in his yellow dyed Erebor armor set. The helmet, I do still think the dwarves look better with their helmet off, but I don't think that's an option for Einar here, so in order to keep him well protected while he's on guard duty, he has the helmet on. So the full Erebor set, and he's now sporting the Orkbane steel sword that we used to use. So what we have available now is the Orktown in this area, which we are now fully geared up to take on. But I suspect we may have run out of time for this episode. So I'm going to say goodbye and thank you for watching, and we'll get to Orktown next time. And if you have enjoyed the episode, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing so that you don't miss the rest of the series. See you next time. Thanks for watching.